When we discovered that Thailand was legalizing, that's when we made the decision to come out here. And I just knew from a manufacturing perspective that Thailand would be a great opportunity because of the fact that people choose Thailand to manufacture for specific reasons like costs and things like that. So that was a big driving factor for us. And then obviously, like I was saying, the regulations was a big thing. Business plan was the brand. That's the biggest thing for us, is because we have a lot of challenges in Canada with launching the brand. So when you're a cultivator, you put your heart and soul into that. Like I consider us almost like artists, and we want to put out the best product, but we also obviously want to get recognized for it. So a lot of the product that we are producing in Canada is going under someone else's brand, which is great, and we're happy to do that. But at the end of the day, there's more in it than just money. We want to be recognized, and the dream for me has always been to have a brand.
Welcome to the Fruiting Body Podcast with your host, Brendan. We are here in Phuket, Thailand, in my beautiful backyard. Now, we have a very interesting podcast for you guys, and we haven't done one of these ones in quite a long time. We're going to be dealing and speaking with Carl Ketch. He's from Canada. We met each other over at Blue Tree walking each other's dogs, but don't worry, that's not the whole purpose of the podcast. We're going to be talking about the whole cultivation of broccoli. I don't know if we can use the words on YouTube. I'm sure we'll just go for it. For the cultivation of marijuana, weed, and whatnot. Also, he is that almost full turnkey solution. He's got his own retail brand, Suay, and they're providing both, the retail side and the wholesale side with international expansion. So we're really going to get the full understanding of the entire business operations coming from Thailand, which is much different than your average retailer. So I'm going to let him do a bit about the talking side on the operational side, and I'll try to ask the right questions. So, don't shoot me in the comments. Okay, without further ado, let's get this podcast started with Carl Ketch.
Thank you.
Okay.
Just our brand's Suay, and we started cultivating here about 2 years ago.
What led you here? So you're coming from Vancouver side. Obviously, you have some sort of background in that, coming from Vancouver. What was the whole stepping stone into Thailand? Yeah,
basically, cultivating cannabis in Canada is extremely expensive and very challenging. And so what we were looking at is like the opportunity coming out here with Thailand, a little bit less regulation and a new opportunity. And so we jumped on it right away. And the other thing is having a brand. It's extremely challenging to get a brand off the ground in Canada, and I thought we'd have a bit of an advantage out here. And so far, it's been working out great. The market has been challenging as any market, but for us, that freedom in the market and in the industry is what's allowing us to really drive forward and be successful. And we've opened up a lot of doors here that have really helped us.
Did you come in with the intention of doing this cultivation? Was there an intention of the brand Suay at the same time? What was the business plan?
The business plan was the brand. That's the biggest thing for us, is because we have a lot of challenges in Canada with launching the brand. So and when you're a cultivator, you put your heart and soul into that. Like I consider us almost like artists, and we want to put out the best product, but we also obviously want to get recognized for it. So a lot of the product that we are producing in Canada is going under someone else's brand, which is great, and we're happy to do that. But at the end of the day, there's more in it than just money. We want to be recognized, and the dream for me has always been to have a brand. So we put together a pretty incredible team, and we're all just pursuing this dream now.
What are those challenges in Canada launching a brand? Is it cost or competition?
It cost, competition, and exactly. So like we're starting out, we're a micro cultivator. So just getting a micro off the ground from, growing some plants in our backyard is a huge undertaking. And then going into all of the new regulations that we had to cultivate, and then starting to push a brand. So all of those challenges were good, and I'm glad that we did it. But I just felt like we could accelerate that here, and we have. So it's been really good.
Were you working with a business partner as well and coming together to make the decision of why Thailand? Was it just you saw the movement, you saw the doors beginning to open up here?
Yeah, I think, well, it was more about like when we discovered that Thailand was legalizing, that's when we made the decision to come out here. And I just knew from a manufacturing perspective that Thailand would be once now that we're starting to see international markets opening up, Thailand would be a great opportunity because of the fact that we can, like, people choose Thailand to manufacture for specific reasons like costs and things like that. So that was a big driving factor for us. And then obviously, like I was saying, the regulations was a big thing.
Yeah, a huge risk as well. I've watched a few friends go through it, and they're being successful on the retail side. However, the policy, laws, regulation in Thailand have been very gray, and not everything's clear. At the beginning of your operation, was there a lot of days of anxiety and nervousness of what the hell's actually going on?
Oh man. Yes, if I look back and think about all of the challenges that we had, a person could easily get quite emotional, to be honest, because the uncertainty, the challenges, but the government's has done a good job for us, and they are adding regulation, which for us, the way that we cultivate, is a good thing. And I hope that more cultivators start to jump on board with that as well, and just accepting the regulations and looking at them as an advantage, not a disadvantage. Because I do think at the end of the day, the most important part is the quality of the product that's going to the consumer. We want to make sure that the consumers are getting a high quality, clean product.
Yeah, are there regulations on the percentage of THC in the product you're cultivating? I mean, this was always the issue in Thailand, where they had to be under a certain value. Is this still in effect, or how does that work exactly?
In terms of flower, there's not a lot of regulation on that. Extractions is still not like legal, so unless it's a very low THC. So in terms of flower, we're okay in that area. But the regulation they're starting to build on that, and but as a whole, the business and the industry in its own has developed so much that there's a lot of really good quality product on the market now, and so it's good. It's great for the industry and especially for the consumer. So. And
they're bringing in, let's say, more policy and let's say certifications, like having your factory be GMP certified, possibly by an American certification company like an SGS. Is this all coming to effect to weed out, let's say, the guy in the backyard growing his own flower and trying to go sell it to the store?
I think it's more, I wouldn't say to weed them out. I would say more in terms of protecting the consumer, right? So I think that if that person could produce a quality product, I mean, they'd have to still get their GM or GACP. But there's also there's the Thailand GACP as well, which would be an option for them, and it's a good option. Like, actually, the Thai GACP is really good. Like, we have ours with SGS, and we're working on getting our Thai GACP right now, and the challenges that we faced with getting our Thai GACP are equal to the same challenges as the GACP. So the regulations are good, and I think that's going to be a great thing. So it will help protect the quality of the product on the market.
Yeah, will that open up doors to sell internationally? You were speaking, I think, just before the podcast. You're now going to have international licenses. What does that mean?
Yeah, so basically, like, we have to be producing our product under the proper practices that the GACP regulates. So we have our regulation is through the SGS. Yep. And SGS allows us to sell internationally to certain countries, but then other countries will have different regulations as well, or they expect a different GACP. So there's a few different ones, but SGS and Control Union are kind of the two major. And then the Thai GACP is opening the doors for us to be able to continue to operate in the Thai market, but also I think Germany at this particular time is requesting to have the Thai GACP as well, because they want it to be recognized from the actual country. So with Canada, in Canada, you actually have to have your Canadian license, but then if you want to export internationally, you also have to have your GACP. So that's similar to what they're doing now in Thailand. So it's working.
It's almost like you need two companies, one in Canada, one here.
Yeah.
Essentially.
And that's, I mean, we do, and that was what gave us a big advantage coming here, is because when we built out our facility, we built it out under all of the regulations that we had already learned. So getting our GACP was significantly easier than some of the other companies that they built and put all this money into these facilities, but now they've got to upgrade them to get the GACP.
And won't you face struggle, like, wouldn't you struggle trying to bring these products into some countries like the US, where they're kind of protecting more homegrown like products, because it's still illegal to actually bring product through US customs, right?
Oh yeah, going into the US is not an option right now. There's the countries that are open right now, there you have to work with a GMP facility, and then you would find buyers. But then there's certain countries that are open for import, and some that are open for export but not import. And same as Thailand. Like Thailand, we can export, but they're not importing. Canada is the same way. Canada is exporting but not importing. But then there's countries that are open only for import and not export. So
it must be just a handful that are allowing this import.
Right now, yeah, but there's a lot more countries coming online, and it's a very exciting time to be in the position that we're in, but it's also very challenging because as these markets open up, obviously the competition increases, but if you're kind of ahead of the curve, that's where you're really going to have an advantage. So but to get to that point, is a lot of years of experience and also a lot of work, because you've got to stay on, not only do you have to stay on top of the requirements with the GACP, but we have to stay on top of the increasing industry, where it's just quality is improving so fast. If you're not constantly changing your system and putting more money into your facility, you're going to get left in the dust. Like it is what it is. A quad, like what we in Canada call a quad, is basically like the top tier product, a quad A, like not AAA, but quad A. That's the best. And a quad 5 years ago, or maybe 7 years ago, is a dub now. Like it's not even on, like, so like that's how much.
A double A, you mean?
Yeah, that's how much the product quality has increased in Canada. So yeah, it's
in terms of like the SOPs, I'm assuming this is what's dictating these levels. What are your systems in place? What are the processes? How do you accept your soil? What is the water filtration system? You're gonna have all these systems and boxes to check off. Are you able to discuss a little bit about that? Like, what does it take to reach a quad A level facility?
Yeah, absolutely. A quad A level facility is like, you have to have all of your environmental controls dialed. You have to have your irrigation system dialed, and then you have to have your SOPs dialed in, which means you can't really have very little mistakes, and you've got to dry and cure it properly. You've got to finish the product properly, and then you got to have the understanding of how to get the plant there, right? Like anyone can grow cannabis, but can you grow a quad product, and can you do it consistently? That's the biggest challenges. So yeah, I would say that basically, so then it becomes a thing where, like, in my opinion, a quad is only a quad if you've grown it medically, right? It has to be a medical quality product. And then from there, you would just work it back. How does it smoke? How does it taste? How is the high? Like, is it getting you? Are you feeling really good from the high, or are you feeling nervous and anxious? How long does the high last? And then flavor is everything now. Like, they don't just want the cannabis to look good and smell good. When they smoke it, it has to taste good, and it has to burn clean and everything. So yeah, there's a lot to it where, that's why I was saying 5 to 7 years ago, a quad then is not a quad now. So.
And when you're actually growing the product itself, are you involved in processing the seeds, or are you curating the seeds?
Yeah, so like a lot of like what you want to do, like growing from seed is extremely challenging, and if you are going to grow from seed, then you have to have a lot of money into R&D, and that money into R&D is basically your pheno hunting. So you have to be able to know what a good pheno is, and then you've got to test it, right? So you might, out of 100 seeds, you might get 1 or 2 winners, and then and then you can see how much work it takes, because then to take 1 or 2 seeds and then turn that into an actual level of production where you're growing 300 plants or more, that can take up to a year and a half from 1 seed, right? So, but then you've got to go through the whole trial and error process of picking out those genetics and then testing them. So, to get a really good genetic on the market that you're very happy with can take 2 to 3 years.
So are you typically purchasing like a sprout or a clone within Thailand, or are you importing them?
Well, import's not legal. So what we've done is we collaborate with other farms, and we work deals. We talk with them, and we might have something that they like, and they might have something that we like, and we're just getting better in the industry as we go. But that is the number one biggest challenge, is getting those genetics, and once you have them, it's like, then that's when the business starts. But to get there is yeah, it's a lot of work. So
even choosing these farms, and when they're growing from a seed, obviously you should know at that point what the plant or product is going to be, or is it modified along the way?
It depends on the breeder and how they're doing it. But for us, we're not doing our own breeding, and I should correct what I said earlier. Is some companies can import genetics, but they have to be doing it. I think it's through only universities that have the actual
correct
import to bring the genetic in. So we didn't have access to that. So we kind of leaned on the other farms and working with them. And now we have a genetic library that we're extremely happy with. So
the differences of growing naturally outdoor or semi-outdoor in Canada versus Thailand. Is Thailand the more ideal climate for growing marijuana?
I think that certain times of the year it would be, but in Phuket would be extremely challenging to grow outdoor. But I think that's why all the outdoor that's being grown in Thailand is being done up north, because the climate's much better there. It gets cooler, and the weather's more consistent. Whereas here, the rain would be it's too humid here.
The humidity.
Yeah. For me, like I have a ton of respect for outdoor cultivators, because indoor, when you have your environments dialed perfectly, the things that can still go wrong is incredible. So, the fact that they're putting out a product that they have to battle elements and not having everything perfect, I have never ventured into that, but I have a ton of respect for those guys.
So
because
everything you're doing is indoor then?
Everything that we do is indoor, yeah. And for me, it's like, what as an indoor cultivator, what you're looking at is like, how can you control your environments to perfection? And that is a massive undertaking in its own. But then to try to cultivate high quality cannabis under the sun and with different weather and different light and everything, like that's why I was saying I have a lot of respect for the guys that can do that.
Yeah, and Thailand, I mean, the weather can change in a second, right? I mean, Canada's a little bit more controlled, except for obviously you have the winters and whatnot. When you're growing indoor in Thailand, and let's compare the cost indoor in Canada. Obviously in Thailand, labor, operations, land, the actual structure of the building the building, all this is going to be much cheaper. But I'm assuming in Canada, the electricity is probably much cheaper. So if you're to weigh the pros and cons of each, does Thailand still become the more economical way to operate a cultivation business?
I would say in some ways, yes, and in some ways, no. Like nutrients that we purchase here are more expensive than Canada, because it's got to come all the way to Thailand. Electricity, yeah, especially in Phuket, is more. So those are two of the more expensive things. But then we have things like the regulations and building costs and all that. Like what you're saying is less, because I would say the quality of the work that we're getting done here. Our team of construction that we have, they're doing a great job, and I'm very happy with it, and they're not like significantly less than Canada, but the speed makes it less, like
A lot of less labor laws, red tape, not in a
Yes.
bad way,
Yeah.
but I mean, just Canada overdoes it with their laws and restrictions and possibly safety where there's too much going on over there.
Oh, it just in drawing sets alone, like for having to do our HVAC drawing, our electrical drawing, and all these things that we pay massive amounts of money for. It's minimal here. They don't charge that kind of thing, but they also because of the regulations, right? We're not waiting on permits and things like that. Like there's some permits, but it's not crazy like it is in Canada for sure. That's the one thing that, for building my facility, my micro facility in Canada versus here, we did it 13 times faster.
Yeah, I mean, in Canada, you're going to pay maybe $3,000 to $5,000 for an electrical certified engineer to sign off on your grid.
Yeah,
Something like someone has to come in, check out. Okay, what kind are we using a 3-phase? What's going on here? Okay, I need to sign. I need to stamp. That's another cost. In Thailand, you're just able to get things going much quicker.
Yeah, and they're like I said, our company is that does our engineer. He's great. Puts like everything that we have is very professional. It's very dialed, and I have no worries. I've been extremely happy with everything.
Are there cheaper places to grow in indoors in Thailand, especially for the electric? Like, is electricity cheaper in Chiang Mai compared to Phuket?
From my understanding, it is, yes. We chose to be here for quality of life, and the electrical, I mean, my personal opinion is the way that I cultivate is I try not to look too much at the expenses, because you spend a little bit more, but if you get more out of it, then it's worth it, right? So, it's just having your processes dialed in and trying not to focus too much on your expenses rather than focusing on putting out a very high quality product and getting the yield that you need to be profitable.
Yeah, maybe there would be challenges in Chiang Mai because of the burning season and the pollution, and that type of toxicity could seep into the plants even through your air conditioning units, and now you might not pass a COA.
Yeah, and that's definitely a possibility, and that was one thing why I wanted to be here as well, is because of the fresh air for sure. The air here I think is great. So.
Yeah, it's completely different. That is a challenge. Even for us, like we don't deal with these companies, but a lot of the outdoor mushroom growers for lion's mane and reishi, it's mostly up in the Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai hills, just because of the drier climate. It's a bit cooler. You could never grow this stuff down here.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like 2 months of the year, so actually it doesn't work.
Okay.
The suppliers now, these farms you're dealing with in Chiang Mai, how does that work on the relationship side? I mean, I'm assuming most of them, are they even speaking English? They must be speaking Thai. Are you traveling to see them quite frequently? Can you explain the dynamics of that relationship?
So you mean for us,
dealing with the farmers?
Yeah. Well, the other farmers, I mean, I've got a few farms that we're kind of close with and that we work with, but the outdoor farmers, they're kind of doing their own thing. So we're more have business relationships with the dispensaries, and then the areas that we're kind of in right now for our brand is in Phuket and in Bangkok and a little bit of Pattaya. But we haven't really had to expand much more than that at this present time. It's been incredible to see the industry blow up here and how many stores there are, and the fact that these stores are still operating and still making money is it's great to see. So
is it quite competitive here? I mean, you're selling wholesale to the retailers. Do margins become quite thin because of the competition, or is it still viable?
Yeah, it is, and it does. So, you really got to kind of have your niche of what's working for you in the market. And so some producers will be focusing on producing for lower price and selling for a lower price, and there's a market for that, and there's a lot of volume that goes that sells that way. For us, our market is like we want to be in the higher priced area, but still like putting out the premium quality product, but being a bit more competitive pricing for that premium product. That's sort of how we've always done it. So it's just kind of finding your niche in the market and then finding what works for you. So we've done that, and we've built a very good customer base with our dispensaries, and they order consistently from us, and they love our products. So yeah, we've found our way, and lots of other companies have as well. So there's a lot of competition, but I think there's room in it for everyone.
And as you're saying, these cultivation centers, facilities like your own, the Thai government is coming out with these rules, regulations, certifications, licenses that you need to protect the customer. When you first launched, it was a bit of the Wild West where a lot were not. Are you starting to see the more rogue cultivators, rogue retailers? Are they starting to, I don't want to say so much as go out of business, but fade away due to regulation?
I wouldn't say right now they are, because there hasn't been much regulation that's come in. The government's talking about bringing it in, but we haven't seen that yet. So I think that what's sort of weeded out a lot of people at this present time is more just the industry and how much product there is on the market, and the consumer now. As markets tighten up and there's more cannabis on the market, then the consumer becomes more picky, and they can, then the prices come down so they can get access to higher quality product for a better price, which I think is necessary anyways. Like, the prices here were significantly high when we first came here. Now they're more affordable for the average tourist. So I think that is a good thing, because yeah, it's someone doesn't want to come to Thailand and spend too much money on cannabis, so then that means that they're not going to be consuming as much, and then so they're not going to be as happy with the product that they're getting, because they're going to buy it for a lower price, and it's not going to be exactly what they want. So the
retail psychology is behind purchasing from retailers. I mean, probably 80%, I would assume, is the tourist. So when the retailers are purchasing or selling, do they even care what they're giving to the tourists anyways? Because they know the guy's gone in a week and he's probably not coming back anyways.
I would say yes and no. It's store to store, right? Some stores are going to have that mentality where it's like, I just want to buy for as low as I can and sell for as high as I can, and I'm going to get some people that way. But then you have other stores where, they won't stock anything in their store that's not high end, exotic, and they smoke test everything before they're selling it to the consumer. So, and I think that there's a place for everyone, sort of thing. So
being experienced in a user yourself in the industry, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
People coming from Canada or the US and coming as a tourist, typically, are they doing a bit of research on what shops they should purchase at before arriving, or are they kind of showing up and then figuring it out? What have you kind of heard? And I guess that would be hard to determine. It's more word of mouth. What do you think's going on there?
Well, I do know like some companies that are quite successful from Google searches, and then others are, just location based. Like, how are you located and who's seeing you on there? But there's such a massive amount of people that are here, especially in Phuket, as you know, that a lot of the stores is just walk-in customers, and they're get enough business from that to survive and do well. So, and then I think, but what I know historically from what allows cannabis to keep selling is you can get an initial buy from a lower quality product, but like, unless that person really likes the product and is happy with the price, they won't buy from them again. So with dispensaries, for example, here, a lot of the dispensaries want to run their own brand. So if someone comes to the store and buys from the dispensary and they get something that they're not happy with, they're not going to come back to that dispensary because there's no branding. If the dispensary carried different brands and the consumer went there and bought a specific brand and they didn't like it, well, they would know, hey, I could go back to the same dispensary because I like the vibe there, I like the people there, and I would have another selection that I could choose from that I know is going to be a different quality product and things like that. So, I think that the market will eventually mature and grow to that position. But on the flip side of that, if the dispensary is doing an extremely good job of putting only high quality product in there, then that's also another driver for that person to come back, because then they can stand out above the other dispensaries. So
yeah, and I think the tourists coming here, I mean, maybe they're here for a week, they're in Patong, they might go to one dispensary, they buy a gram, they don't like it, they're just going to go, okay, let me try the next one. I think the goal is you want that guy coming back to your shop every other day at least.
Absolutely. That's the same goal with having a cannabis brand, right? That's what drives the sales, is like, once people get onto a brand that they like, they're scared to buy under any other brand, because they like the quality, they know they're going to get something good, and then that becomes where, are they happy with the price? Mm-hmm. And if the price is good, then they're going to keep coming back.
Your store, Suay, the retail shop, it is open, and where's the location?
We don't have a store yet. We're looking right now. So that's the future. But right now, just getting the business off the ground, running consistent, high quality product. We've sort of hit those marks now. So now what we're doing is that's where we're going to start to look at dispensaries. So.
How do people find Suay as the brand? Are they going through your website? What kind of keywords would they be searching on Google? Is it more word of mouth?
Right now we're more just focused on providing good quality product for the dispensaries. So that's also why we're not really overly motivated to have our own dispensary, because we don't necessarily want to be competition for the other dispensaries. Like, if we did do our own dispensary, it would be more of like where we would be doing wholesale to the dispensaries, just having a closer location where they could come and see us and hang out and talk about the products, and then they can buy wholesale from us so that they can sell to their consumers. So we will never try to,
cause that competition.
Exactly. Right? Like, we might only look at having a very select couple of dispensaries in all of Thailand. Like, we want to make sure that dispensaries are happy with us. So
yeah, and I think the purpose, and if people listening to the podcast out there, it's understanding the business dynamics of running not just the cultivation side, but running a brand, being able to be a wholesaler, because I'm sure navigating those waters from the beginning is quite a challenge. Whether people listen to this and they want to become a competitor, we both know the answer to that. It's like, it takes a lot of time. So
yeah.
by the time, it could take someone a year to even get to these positions. Where do you see the brand Suay going internationally outside of Thailand? What's your vision for this brand over the next 5 years?
So right now we're looking at, we're trying to be realistic about it, right? Like, we don't try, if you think that as a cultivator, you're going to go and every single gram that you produce is going to go out under your brand, I think that's pretty lofty and not really realistic. So we're kind of thinking in terms of, like, we're a small cultivator, so we're going to just launch brands in Australia and somewhere in Europe. Not sure, we haven't decided exactly yet. And just think about it as like a smaller scale thing where we will allow it to organically grow and go from there. And then most of our product will be going under white label. So, and that's fine too, because unless you're a massive publicly traded company that has endless amounts of money to really pound out a brand and put all this money into marketing and everything else, that's kind of the only way to do it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's a huge marketing expense and cost to that of launching your own brand, both internationally, from a media team to the content management, distribution, video. Right there, you're talking upwards of $10,000 a month, easily.
Yeah,
easily.
Yeah.
Switching the subject and moving more into like the lifestyle and living in Phuket. Coming from Canada, you've now been over here permanently for how long? A year and a half? 2 years?
2 years.
2 years now.
Yeah.
What were some of the major challenges you found on that transition from Canada coming here?
The heat, for one, it was a big challenge because it is quite cold in Canada, and like our hottest, our sort of midsummer days is like the coldest that you'll have here, right? So that was an adjustment, but also the just traffic and driving and everything. It's like I've definitely improved in my driving skills coming here because everything's just so regulated in Canada. It's very different. But other than that, like I don't know. I absolutely love living here. I do. For me, the beach life, the way people are here. One thing that I really like is that most people that live here that are foreigners are here because they want to be here. And then Thai people, I love their culture, and I just the way that they are, the mentality, everything. I'm just, I just feel very blessed to live here. And like I said, like it's just been a really warm welcoming for us, and our team. Every person that works for us it's just a dream come true. Like the way that they are, the respect that they show, how hard they work and how much they believe in what we're doing and everything. It's just, I'm just extremely happy.
Working with teams in Canada versus working with teams in Thailand, obviously there's the cultural differences. How would you explain that? Like, what have you seen in how to manage, like, the difference between managing a Canadian company with employees versus managing a Thai company with employees?
Yeah, so the challenge is, with Canada and Thailand. So in Canada, we have part-time workers, but those part-time workers have a lot of experience. So there's some good things with that and some challenging things with that because when you bring in part-time workers, they have their habits and they do things a certain way. Whereas like our team here is all in-house. We don't trade employees with other companies or anything. So we our team's like really well trained and they're doing everything to the standard. So we're really happy with that. But the communication obviously is extremely challenging. Whereas obviously in Canada, we don't have those challenges. But as a whole, I think the differences is, everything has to be done very, very fast in Canada because the additional costs, whereas here we don't have to be as fast because it's not as expensive in some ways. So we can be focused on very thorough. And the way that our team is they are very thorough. They are happy to put that time in to really make something perfect, So yeah, to weigh out the two, I think at the end of the day, both companies are putting out high-end, very good product and getting very good yields. So but it's just, I guess it's just two different ways to get there, right?
Two different mentalities as well. I mean, it's Thailand has a very mai ben lai. Everything's going to be, peaches and cream, very easy.
Yeah.
Canada, we still have that Western American Canadian mentality where it's very structured and rigid, and this is the way to do it.
Yeah.
Going off on your point where you were explaining that you're working with part-time workers out of Canada, and they come in with their own styles. Does that mean they're a bit more stubborn when you're trying to maybe pass on how you guys would do something?
It can be, but they're very good. Like they know after time of going to the different farms, they know exactly what that farm wants. So we don't have to worry about that now, but in the initial stages, that was challenging. And I shouldn't even speak to that too much though, because my business partner and grower, Carl, he still has all those challenges. So, at the end of the day, I don't want to take away from what he has to do because he's a savage and he works his ass off. So, for him, he's always on point in making sure that company is successful there. And same with our other guy, Dagu, as well for Suay, because Suay is also in Canada. So.
And your partner, Carl, he's here as well?
No, Carl is in Canada, and so I have a company in Canada where Steve is my business partner and Carl is also one of our partners. And then that's a different company, but then Suay is also in Canada, and we have our grower there his name's Dagu, and he's doing a great job as well.
for anyone out there, obviously competitors looking to come possibly do this type of business in Thailand, is there any big takeaway that, you know, something unexpected that you faced that you wish you would have known before?
Humidity. Like, every single room in our building, we have to have a dehumidifier, which obviously increases our electrical costs as well. And mold. A big thing in Canada is powdery mildew. That's the big threat as a cultivator there. But here it's mold. We go the extra mile on cleanliness in our facility, because when we first came here, the combination of the humidity and then the mold, we had a little bit of challenges for sure. And so we had to put a lot of money into our facility and change up our SOPs to make sure that they were totally dialed in, because there's no room for any room not being very clean at all times because of that factor. So and then like I said, the dehumidification, but that for us, and then being in Phuket, it's extra humid here, right? So that for me was the biggest thing. And then I have found that drying and curing cannabis is slightly different here than it was in North America. So we've tweaked a few things to make it work, but we're finding that, people are extremely happy with what we're doing now. So.
Are you using like industrial dehumidifiers?
Oh yeah, like are
you changing? Is the water automatically draining out, or you have to change them?
The water, automatically drains out, but it's the filters. You have to constantly clean filters and change filters on not just your dehumidifiers, but your air conditioners and everything. And industrial dehumidifiers, I honestly could not tell you how. We probably have well over 50 dehumidifiers in our building.
Yeah, I know. We have to deal with it as well. For the mushroom encapsulation, we have to keep the humidity under 40%.
Okay.
Otherwise,
oh, wow. Yeah. But you're not doing that in Phuket?
Chiang Mai.
In Chiang Mai. Okay.
In Phuket, that'd be impossible.
It would be, yeah.
Yeah, so the heat, we keep at 25, humidity under 40. Because if the humidity is not under 40, when you encapsulate powder into a capsule, it becomes hygroscopic, which means the capsule will just turn into a rock, because we're doing extracts.
Okay.
So it's like literally impossible.
Otherwise,
you can't even capsule this stuff. It's just like, it'd be like hash almost, like glue. So this is the biggest challenge I've seen. I don't even think we could encapsulate in Phuket. We thought about building our own machines here. We're like, I don't even think that's possible.
Yeah. The other thing I would say is transportation and storage. With the heat, the last thing that you want is to put all this hard work into growing a high quality product, drying and curing it, and everything, because the amount of work that it goes into just getting it to that point is insane. Like it's really a lot, and to get a high quality product to the market, and then all it takes is a few hours in a hot area, and that all your hard work's gone.
Because the product could just turn moldy, or it's going to absorb the humidity as well.
As a connoisseur, I would say I wouldn't worry about it going bad. I would just worry about it not being perfect. So what I mean by that is, like, we want to have that beautiful flavor profile. We want it to smell amazing, and we want it to burn really good. So if you leave that product out in the sun and the heat, all it takes is a couple of hours and you're already diminishing THCs, you're losing terpenes, it's not going to burn the same. So, that's something that we want to do.
You have to vacuum seal that, like, immediately?
Yeah. Vacuum seal will help, but it's the temperature, right, that we want to be careful about. We everything that we put out is sealed. We don't want to vac it down too much, because then you're gonna squish your bud and all of that. But it's just keeping that temperature and not allowing the humidity to get into it. If you're outside and you're holding open your pack and it's 70, 80, 90% humidity outside, that cannabis is going to absorb that moisture fast, right? And then all of a sudden it's not the same product that it was. So those are all the things that I would, as a consumer and as a cultivator, to consider. and yeah, and even as a consumer, you know, you could take someone's hard work and you can go and criticize it because you left it out. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, I would say take care of your cannabis if you wanted to smoke good.
One of the biggest concerns I'm assuming you're facing is just Thai regulation and how things can literally change overnight. Is there anything out there that could be a devastating blow to this entire industry that you kind of keep in the back of your head, but you also want to mitigate that risk?
I think that there was a big scare a while ago, but then there was some changes in the government, and I think now I'm not too concerned, to be honest. I just don't see them going back on everything that they built and the amount of money that's in it and the people who have invested money into it. So I personally don't feel any threat or worry about it. And hopefully that is the case. But yeah, so that's for me, I'm only focusing on the potential and the opportunity.
Yeah, there was maybe, I don't know if it's 6 months ago or a year ago. Sometimes there's no seasons here, so you forget what month it is half the time. But there was that threat where I think it was probably before this high season, they were talking about making cannabis, I don't know if it was illegal or not decriminalized anymore.
Yeah, they were actually wanted to make it a narcotic again.
Yeah.
And that was a massive scare. Like I every single day I woke up thinking, like, did I invest every penny that I had, like, not including obviously my companies there, but every penny I had saved, I put into out here and I dumped my life into it, right? Is that going to all just fade away because the government makes a change? Like, yeah, it was extremely scary. And then you add all that stress onto all the other challenges that we had. And it's been a whirlwind of emotion and challenge and everything else. But, you know, I was confident. I was always confident in the back of my mind that I just can't see them going back on everything that they did and how many people are benefiting from this industry. And
we were talking about like the legal side of that and the fears that if the government were to impose some sort of laws and regulations, it could cause a scare. I also didn't believe anything would happen because I think a lot of people in positions of power are probably also invested on the business side, that it economically, I don't think it would make a lot of sense. Why they said it at the time, who knows? But I think the cat's out of the bag now, and I don't think there's there's no way to put it back in.
Yeah, I agree. And you know, it's funny though. Like even in Canada, when Canada legalized, I had all those same fears as well, right? Because you know the Liberal government came in, they legalized. Then who knows what happens if the Conservatives come in and all of those things. But like once that industry is established and the people have spoken, you know, and they've put their money in, it's just to pull back on that. I just didn't see it happening.
What is the size of the cannabis industry in Thailand in like US dollars? Do you have an idea?
Honestly, I don't know because it's just ever increasing. So yeah, I don't actually know those numbers, but I kind of just focus on what we have in front of us and just do whatever it takes to be successful in the industry where we're at.
Do you see yourself being here forever?
I see Suay being here forever. I think like for me, my dream is to have businesses in multiple different countries or operating in multiple different countries. So I think that Thailand and Phuket will always be a home, but I don't know if it will be my full-time home, you know?
Where do you think that could be your full-time home in the future, your dream place?
Yeah, I mean, me and my wife have talked about it, and for me, I personally love Phuket. Like I could live here for the rest of my life and have no problem. Or Thailand, right? There's so many beautiful places here. But my wife, she loves her winter and her snow. So obviously tropics and heat is not ideal for her. So I think we've kind of settled in, like our dream place and our ideal place would be like Italy kind of thing. So she can still, we could go north and she has the mountains and everything, but then we can go south and have the beaches and everything. So something like that. And then there's just something different. But for me, the way I've always been is like, I need constant change and I need to experience something different. I never want to be, like, personally don't really want to set roots anywhere. For me, it's like, that's like, you know, when it's kind of time to, you know, your days are done, then, you know, for me, I want to constantly be changing and evolving and growing. So I don't know where that next spot will be, but we'll see.
Yeah, Italy, Europe, for myself, I could see myself there. When I'm a bit older, I always said like Southeast Asia is great to travel, and Asia in general when you're younger.
Yeah.
I mean, try traveling here when you're 80 and you're climbing into the mountain and doing. It's not going to be easy, but
Right.
you can go see the Mona Lisa when you're 80.
Yeah.
So like
yeah.
Europe has, I feel like it's the end of my life tale,
Right.
Because a lot of the things the tourism has been built for that.
Yes.
To be able to travel around so easy. In Asia, there'll be days where, you know, there's hikes up in Borneo. You're not going to be able to do that one day.
Yeah, no doubt.
Have you been traveling around Southeast Asia much? Have you had that opportunity?
I mean, I would love to say that I have. I mean, we've checked out some of Thailand, but, you know, been to the amount of time that's required on starting this business it's consumed my entire life, you know, but for me as a person, that's okay because I love that. To me, it's not work. This is life. Like it's work. I consider myself a creator. It's not work. Every single day that I wake up, I'm not going to work. This is my life, you know, and I love it. And the goal is to produce the highest quality product that we possibly can and grow our brand and be considered one of the best cannabis brands in the world. That's the goal. Getting there, you know, that could take a lifetime. You know, it's not going to happen overnight. And because there is so many companies with so much money who have so many more years of experience and put so much into it. So you got to respect those guys and understand like that does not happen overnight, you know, but if you keep grinding and you keep believing in your dream, I do believe you will get there, or if you don't get there, you're going to be close, you know.
You're considering the growing operation and the business operation, and specifically on cannabis side, and speaking on that as an art, very similar to probably a wine producer as well. There's an art behind that. Now, most artists, whether it's in cannabis, wine, or music, they tend to draw from past performers. Who did you draw from? Who's your motivator?
Yeah, I would say like I've followed in mixed martial arts for many years. So, you know, there's, I always really respect and look at what it takes to be number one in the world. So like, you know, George St. Pierre, Conor McGregor, John Jones. And those guys have been inspiring to me, not because, it's a completely different industry, but what it took for them to get there. Or like, you know, Olympians like Usain Bolt and things like that, like those guys who have been the greatest at what they do. I get inspiration from that because you know, what it took for them to do that and how focused and dedicated they had to be. You can apply that into any area and you will be successful to some degree, right? So I looked at that, but then also obviously in our industry, you know, we're, like the Jungle Boys have been massive. Steezy as a brand is the fastest growing brand in the US last I've heard. But what they've managed to achieve is monumental in this industry. And Athena as a company, we use Athena, and I've met Brandon from Athena personally, and you know what those guys, like I have so much respect for those guys because they are the, you know, the Usain Bolts and the John Joneses of this industry. So, you know, I draw inspiration from them and athletes and things. But yeah, that kind of, yeah, that I would say.
Yeah, they set the standard or the bar to understand days that are always you're always, as an entrepreneur, you're always gonna have challenging days where you're not that you give up, but you're mentally exhausted. And I always just look at Elon Musk and I go, if that guy's putting a rocket on Mars, like, get your ass up and work an extra 2 hours, because like they set a certain standard. I feel. Yeah. Could I ever be some of them at that level? No, definitely. I wouldn't want to be, because they don't have any work-life balance. Like, they're working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You're Jeff Bezos, you're Musk. Yeah. That's the bar. I don't want to be at that level. I get it. But I mean, at least you see what goes into it. There's a reason John Jones is the GOAT, or a St. Pierre is the GOAT. And then you have up and rising stars like Patty Pimblett that won't make it because he's on vacation eating cheeseburgers. But it shows you the difference. Like, to be a superstar in your industry and business and in life, it's actually not that complicated. You just have to work your ass off. Yeah. It's the focus and the dedication and the constant grind. Like, you know, and I love that you brought up Elon Musk, because I absolutely love him too. He's like, you know, what that man has accomplished in his life is more than a billion people combined. You know, like it's incredible. But so I think I agree that it's the constant grind and waking up every day and putting your best foot forward into it is what's going to get you there. And, you know, if you want to be the best at something, you got to understand that, you know, the next guy is going to, if you're not doing it, the next guy is going to be doing it. He's going to be getting up and putting all that effort in and work. And I think that relates in every industry, because the way I look at things right now, especially in today's times, there is so much competition in absolutely everything, and people are so good at getting good at things very fast that if you're not, you know, thinking of it as a bit of a competition, then you are going to get left behind, you know? So it's constantly evolving, constantly focusing on how can I get better, and not worrying about where you're starting, but focusing on every day, how can I get better as an individual, or how can I make my product better, or how can I make my brand better? You know, that's not necessarily looking at the Jungle Boys, for example, and saying, oh man, like, I'm never going to be able to get there. It's like, you're not there. You're not, you know, maybe you won't get there, but you only have what you have in front of you, right? So just do the best of where you're at, and just constant improvement, and eventually you're going to get somewhere. Yeah, for me, it's a bit of a double-edged sword as well, because when you're building a brand, when I first started, I was working like 20-hour days for 2 years, and now the machine's just working, and I can step back. So I'll step back for 2 months, and then you get back at it. Okay, open in Singapore, open in the U.S. Okay, 20 hours days. And then I haven't had a vacation in 5 years. But I used to vacation when I worked for someone all the time. I'd live for the vacation. I'd go for 3 weeks here, Philippines, and there. The problem is now I feel that finally when your vacation day will come, you're busy, I'm busy. My vacation's not even in sight. It doesn't exist. Yeah. But when that day comes, oh God, we got to watch the dog. Whoa, there it goes. Yeah, okay. When those vacation days come, I wonder if we've worked so hard, I don't know if we'll be able to enjoy them. I know, I hear you. Like, my last vacation was a work-based vacation. I went back to Canada to go and see my other facilities, and I think I took a couple of days off in there. But trying to take those days off, it's like, to me, I love the beach, and I'll go to the beach and have dinner and things like that. But like, just sitting there and not having anything to do is like painful to me. So I don't, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I guess if every day you enjoy every day, do you need a vacation? I guess if you love what you're doing, you know. So I don't know. Yeah, for me, it's golf. Because it becomes a challenge. But it confuses you, because you can't think of, like, if you're surfing, let's say, or if you're in MMA and you're training, the task you're doing at hand, you can't think about work. because when you're hitting a golf ball, I can't start thinking about, otherwise I'm just going to shank it in the water.
Yeah.
If you're out surfing, you can't think about work because the next wave's just going to pile you over.
Oh yeah.
So like I try to find things that distract me.
Keep you fully
The gym
engaged.
doesn't, I have to either run or sprint or do like high intensity cardio. Because if I get to the gym now, and this is the struggle, I used to like to lift heavy. The next thing I know, I've done a set and now I'm in an email.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, what the fuck? I haven't done anything because there's all this breaks in between. So I find this a challenge now.
Yeah, I found that a challenge before as well. But now what I do at the gym when I'm there is I just go from one exercise to the next, to the next, to the next. I never stop because if I even go on the phone, then it's done because there's just going to be how many messages from how many people, and that's not even getting to the email yet. So yeah, exactly. I think that's the thing. And even my gym routine is like, I get everything done in 1 hour. It's super efficient, and it's just got to be in, out, and then back to the grind. So.
All right. Well, we probably almost hit it. We probably went over an hour now, and that's why these. I used to do like 2-3 hours, and I'm like, okay, they go too long. So now, we'll wrap it up now. I'll be up in Hua Hin, so come on and visit us up there.
Yeah, sounds
I think
great.
a lot of people are starting to leave the island. Phuket, it's just getting a bit crazy. But when you have brick and mortar here and you have boots on the ground, it becomes a challenge. Just before we cut the podcast out, I'm going to throw the big camera lens back to you. If you could just let anyone know that's listening, if they want to reach out, any questions, any retailers looking to take on the product or anything else in general, how people can find you. And we'll put all the links down in the description if you could just let them know to that camera.
Okay, great. Yeah, we're on Instagram at Suay Growers, and then we also have a website, www.suaybc.com, and yeah, you can also Google us. We're Suay BC. So yeah, you can check us out on any one of those platforms, and yeah, we're happy to connect with you.
Okay, that wraps up another episode of the Fruiting Body Podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave comments. Any type of comments about this discussion, they're great to leave because if we do another podcast, if you're in Hua Hin, we'll have that information for that podcast. So let us know down below. And yep, thanks for watching. We're out.